Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Darkest Dungeon. Let's continue. Last episode was a lot of 2 steps forward, 1 step back. As far as we had a really good run and then I tried to do a second run in the farmstead with the exact same team and lost 2 of the characters. Inherently, with most games, you can just keep on playing and you will eventually win. And that's a nice thing. That certainly isn't the way a lot of the rest of the world works. But that doesn't inherently take into account the fact that you will potentially be spending way more time than you should playing a game if you embrace that mentality. And some games definitely are just not really worth it. I have yet to make a decision specifically on this game if this is going to be one of those types of games, but there is definitely a danger. See, this is weird. I guess this really does highlight that this plague doctor should be here. And then I don't know if this one can attack well at all from that far position. And certainly there is a question here as to why not bring out this guy who's a level 3 instead, and why not give somebody else a chance if somebody else can be played. Like, because I found that this occultist class in particular of characters are not bad. But what we really need is a back row character that can really attack from the back row. So do I want another attacker or do I want to take this healer? I think we take this occultist healer. We can look here as far as a ranged attack and see if maybe there's something there. I'm a little surprised this guy has an item, actually. Alright. +5 ACC mod would reduce speed. Maybe we leave that alone and not enable that. We're going back to the cove, and that's where we had the success before. And this is a short, so we know our provisions don't have to be as heavy as before. You can really get away with just 8 of these, and maybe we're leaning into like 10 of these. One of these is nice, but one of these is like necessary, really. Well, whatever. We'll take a key. We had over 10,000 gold for a brief second there, and then I spent a lot of it. And it does seem like it is just a revolving door with the finances at this point.
The smell of rotting fish is almost unbearable.
Our goal is to explore 90% of the rooms, which is worse than exploring 90% of the barriers.
Another mariner, another misfortune.
See, and immediately that adds a massive amount of time and stress when you have to turn your way through a barrier. That's why you want that shovel. if not a couple of them. This is... It may straight up get to the point where the layout of maps are such a big deal that... Let's see if this unlocks something. Nope, it didn't. That was a waste of the key. Yeah, it is possible that the layout of a map might be such a important factor that you would jump into a level and then just immediately flee from the level. Like in this case, 90% of the rooms is hoping that you could skip this room and go to all of these, but you kind of have to do some math to count and see how that would be rounded off. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. So you have 8 ninths. Then that'd be kind of hard. I don't remember how mathematically you take a fraction of 8 ninths and compare that to 90 100ths, other than to try and find a least common denominator. A common denominator, I guess, is what you would do. Just old-fashioned math. So 9/10 would be a simplified 90 100ths. And so a common denominator between 9 and 10 would probably be 90. That may not be the least common denominator, but it would be one of them. So 90 would be 81 90ths. And 81 90ths is bigger than 8 9s, or 80 90ths if we were to balance it out. I don't know why I'm really doing the math here, but that does imply to me I have to search every room just trying to do the simple math, which is too complicated, frankly. This is where computers would have been really helpful and good to say explore 90% of the rooms, which would be 9 out of 9. Meanwhile, there's not a lot going on right now, so we are just playing once again, trying to kill a character
as the enemy crumbles.
quickly. What rather scares me about this, though, is the idea, potentially, that we would get characters up to level 10 and then there would just be no more room for growth.
Destroyed.
And our team of 10 may still not be in the line, as it were, as far as trying to actually defeat the darkest dungeon or make significant progress. And that, I don't know if that was physical healing or stress relief.
Brought low and driven into the mud.
And that was just a hallway fight. I thought that was a room fight. Here you just have a whale in the background that doesn't mean anything.
Hacks laden with loot are often low on supplies.
It is very weird that we just continuously are getting mostly resources to upgrade our state. Interesting, the eating took one of the torches.
A menace of unconscionable alienage.
The thing from the stars, the thing is murderous and unforgiving, but it carries treasures that can't be found anywhere else. Additionally, those who survive this terrible onslaught may even earn unique quirks. Remember, retreat is always a valid option. So this may be from the Farmstead DLC, and yet it's showing up in the Cove DLC. I would lean into the idea that this is probably from the Farmstead DLC. Let's try this vulnerability hacks to market and see how well that potentially works for us. -5 dodge, -5 speed, debuffs. Just really try and do as much debuffs on this character as possible. Right. This character's in the wrong position. Although getting him into the right position might really suck. His stress is fairly high. We do now know that characters do die exactly at 200 stress no matter what. Okay. Either this guy's gonna heal himself or he's gonna move, and if he moves he's in the wrong position again, so let's just go ahead and heal ourselves. We desperately need to destroy this before it hurts us.
Another abomination cleansed from our lands.
But we really haven't done any damage to the guy so far. And it's hard to tell whether we're going to actually succeed here or if we are going to fail. We've had to spend a considerable amount of time just moving the characters back in the right order. And he's not really doing a lot of damage, but he is doing stress. Heal ourselves. And it's definitely questionable whether we should torch plus 24. Now is not the time to do that. Yeah, definitely questionable whether we should just run, or because we may have such a problem after this. We may do this fight and then have to flee after the fight. Oh, wow. That was so weak it didn't even destroy it.
Continue the onslaught. Destroy them all.
And slowly, ever so slowly. 0 damage there. Interesting. Even if I did get like a unique quirk, like this guy has so many quirks already that that's an issue.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms.
Is just taking too long. That's what constantly seems like happens in a lot of these fights. Although in all fairness, this fight does definitely seem to be more of a situation where
Reeling,
things
gasping,
are weird.
taken over the edge into madness.
Alright. Gonna attack that for 2. This guy might die of a heart attack before we win.
Executed with impunity.
And I guess if you didn't know, those spikes are basically landmines and they explode. Yeah. This may just be a very, very debuffing character. And I question things here as far as whether this is the only thing you'll ever fight in the game, and once you fight it, it may respawn hours and hours from now, but it may never show up again. Probably wasn't the attack I was trying to do. This guy's at 151. If this does not end pretty quickly, we're losing our man-at-arms character. He did lose 3 stress from that. So there is some level of losing stress. But obviously not a lot. And it really hurts your strategy, or the idea that this game even is a strategy-based game, when random enemies that are way more difficult than you were expecting can spawn. Let's see. Can we heal this guy? Like, effectively what it feels like is that to fight this character, your resolve would have had to been about twice as high as it is on these characters, so that then their defense would have been a lot higher.
Frustration.
Yeah, we're gonna have to just straight up flee after this fight. Just call it quits.
Injury and despondence set the stage for heroism or cowardice. A hand's breadth from becoming unwound.
This guy's at death's door. This guy's stress is high.
More dust.
There's one dead.
More ashes. More disappointment.
Come on, just get the hits in.
Press this advantage. Give them no quarter.
We got an achievement, and apparently he died from something. Protection Stone, King's Crest, Crusader only, Comet Shards, Candle Life for the Antiquarian, and all that. Let's take all that. And then there's just nothing to do here. You are better off suffering the stress of defeat here.
So that we may learn to pick ourselves up once again.
That's not a terrible haul for really going through 2 days or 2 rooms. Is now hot to trot and 1 hero per roster, 25% debuff resistance. These may be very good stats, so it might be useful to lock in those stats. But yeah, these are all bad stats.
A fever of willful determination sweeps through the barracks.
There's a fearsome lot, gritted teeth, distant stares, and between them an unbreakable bond of fellowship. We have on some of the people we left behind some reduced stress, but we have a lot of stress. We probably don't have like a lot of we really probably don't have a lot of gold. Like, it would be very nice to lock that in. Or lock that in. Lurker could go away. But all of those are really, really expensive. But if anything, it's probably just going to be a case where I'm going to struggle to even just give this guy the amount of recovery I would want. And this guy would have only seen the brothel anyways. I couldn't have done anything with him, so I got lucky there. Alright, so we come over to Stagecoach. Are any of these characters ones? No. Do we have enough resources to upgrade the number of available characters? Because that's what we would like to do. No, not really. Do we have the ability to upgrade the blacksmith? No. I imagine we don't have the ability to do anything because we got some resources but not enough probably to upgrade anything. Yeah, we're just short on everything. I am starting to run out of characters too, which there might be some danger in that. Like, it doesn't really hurt to say we don't have a Houndmaster. Let's go ahead and take a Houndmaster.
A warman and his faithful beast. A bond forged by battle and bloodshed.
Oh, well, we do have a Houndmaster, whatever. We didn't lose our Crusader, did we? Yeah. We may have. Unique quirks. Some unique quirks are unique, meaning only 1 hero per roster can have them at a time. Unique quirks are shown by a special symbol to them. If you don't want the hero to have the unique quirk, you can remove them in a sanitarium like other quirks. This can be useful if you're trying to get that quirk to develop on a more suitable hero. So, we do have a unique quirk here on this guy. I think we may have lost our Crusader.
A mighty sword arm anchored by holy purpose. A zealous warrior.
Right. Even if you could really upgrade this, you probably shouldn't. We do now have some questions. This one's stress is at 19, which is a little high, but not too high to send them out. So we could go with that one, that one. This character. Do we have kind of now an item here that would make sense? Crusaders only, 10% max HP. Yeah, I almost suspect that should be the move, is just to see if we could use this. But I don't know if I really agree with that. I just don't know if I want to lower speed ever. And we've got this glowing aspect here, which makes me scared as to what that's supposed to mean. Right. This one we should pick last. This one's attack seems to like to be in that position. This one's attack can be in that position. Could bring a Crusader with us and try and build up a Crusader again. Or we could play with some other characters that we really just have not played with before, so let's just do that instead and get some interesting variety there. And then this one will go back there. I think that's good. And there's nothing like here that you can click on. So we have another short of the cove, 2 mediums here, 2 mediums here, a medium here, and a short but on veteran level here. So let's just try it again. Of course, the real problem here is food's gonna be short, and you're basically not gonna have any torchlight at all. And I could sell items to try to make up for that, but that's diminished returns.
These salt-soaked caverns are teeming with pelagic nightmares.
So my hope
They must be flushed
here
out.
is that all the room battles are few and far between. Noticeably, they're not giving me torches just because I need torches.
Curious is the trap maker's art. His efficacy unwitnessed by his own eyes. The cove doesn't lose the torch particularly super fast, but fast enough that having only one is a problem. Right, so the risk would be that both of these wouldn't have a room fight in them, and that risk is pretty high. So the question to ask here, I think, is can we do something that would get us highly rewarded here in this first collection of fights. We want to keep an eye out, I guess, to see if there's also a item or action that would
their formation is broken.
That would raise our torch
Maintain
up.
the offensive.
Because if we did have something like that, that would work fairly
Continue
well.
the onslaught. Destroy them all.
But immediately, because of the light level or just because of randomness, we're stressing out characters again. The game seems more than happy to not help you with any of that and let you potentially ruin your teams over and over again. Even if you are fleeing, it's not good enough to get over a hill if you start to have real struggles.
The slow death. Unforeseen.
Like
Unforgiving.
right now, if I was to kill
Press this advantage.
all of my team
Give them no quarter.
at all, just like all my team died and there was nobody to replace them, you would, I assume, at that point, let's click it. Cove Explorer as a skill. Like, yeah, if all my characters died, I could then in the next week gain 3 characters back. And only 3 characters back. I would need to expand the tavern so that there would be at least 4 characters to recruit. And that still would be potentially diminished returns where every week you might do a run where all 4 of your team just gets killed, and then you recruit 4 new characters, and then all 4 of those teams get killed. There really may be no way to gain any resources, whether it's building upgrade resources, or whether it's provision purchasing gold, or whether it's just experience in the form of resolve
The will to fight.
when you actually succeed. It's really important to point out you don't get XP per fight, you only get XP per entire dungeon clear. Which that concept alone, if just thought out loud, is an insane concept that any dungeon crawler developer should have said, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. That you only get XP on a dungeon clear, and that you're going to have potential players spend 20 minutes or longer in a dungeon run to get potentially no reward at all.
Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles.
Hey, this guy back here needs to be healed. Let's see if we can find somebody that does have a healing ability. You can heal yourself for a small amount.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms.
It wouldn't even be that much. Let's say you do one fight here and you have 4 characters. If each one of those characters gave you 1 resolve for killing them, or gave even a quarter of a resolve for killing them, you wouldn't be blowing the scale out of the water.
Remind yourself
that
that
much.
overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer.
Okay. 100% of room battles. Curio trap. So if I was to go this way, and then go this way, and then disarm this trap, is that worth the effort, or was that just a total waste of time? I saw that trap too late. And it's interesting that there was a trap a second time. But we're losing our torchlight, and honestly, I think there is really a good argument to say when you start to lose your torchlight, and that you should potentially just flee.
The darkness holds much worse than mere trickery and boogeymen.
My only hope here is that something would allow us to get torches. The visuals are very different in the darkness, but I don't know if that fully portrays the whole situation. These characters are still somewhat weak. Stunned character. Bleeding. My guy's bleeding. Just keep on healing. It almost feels like there should be a scale system as far as the flow of battle that is like directly telling you, hey, you're doing good in this battle, or no, you're doing poorly in this battle. That way you get kind of an idea of
Foolish horrors, brought low and driven into the
like
mud.
why a lot of characters are getting stress. This is just not going well. So the hope is that this would be the last room battle. Like, if we ran now, really wouldn't be terrible. I'm not even really getting a lot of stress. Heal 6, but only heal yourself. Go ahead and heal yourself there. Healing for 3, very possibly not that useful. Now the stress may start to happen. But I wouldn't be surprised if it actually doesn't happen.
as life ebbs, terrible vistas of emptiness reveal themselves.
Kill that character. You just really need to get through one more fight after this one. That one. Strike that one. Wow, that didn't do enough damage. Notice how this guy's head is really behind this character.
A hand's breadth from becoming unwound.
Death's Door again. Come on, we can do this.
Now the true test. Hold fast or expire.
Yeah, the fact that you can just over and over again hit Death's Door is also kind of annoying. It does feel like
Another
it
one
is
falls.
too random in a game that tries to make everything else fairly
Another
unrandom.
abomination cleansed from our lands.
At a certain level, you should probably
These nightmarish creatures can
consider
be felled. They can be beaten.
not having the Death's Door element and make the game just like a tabletop game where everything is based off of just numbers with maybe a few dice rolls, but not that many. We gotta kill this madman fairly quickly. And I'm just hoping to defeat everybody fairly quickly.
Teetering on the brink,
Or
facing the abyss.
we will be doomed.
Injury and despondence set the stage for heroism or cowardice.
Let's see. Heal yourself.
Perched at the very precipice of oblivion.
Maybe I shouldn't lose this character. That is definitely an argument that could be made as to
Such a terrible assault cannot be left unanswered.
the fact that you just don't have a counterattack by default seems so weird. Heal. I think once this guy goes to 100, we run. Yeah. Well, maybe not.
A moment of valor shines bright.
His stress went from 100 to 41 because of that. Wow. But stress alone is not the only problem. I really don't want to lose this character.
Frustration and fury.
But I'd also like to win
Destructive
here.
than 100 cannons.
So the question is, do you make the best of a bad situation? Or do you flee? Let's flee.
You cannot learn a thing You think you know.
We got a decent amount of resources from that. We got upgrade resources from that. We lost one character, but we saved another. And it is very much just likely that this is the way to play. This was the character that had 2, so that was one not to lose. This guy is soft. This one has weak grip now.
I was lord of this place before the crows and rats made it their domain.
We're up to week 20 now. Here we have a level 1 character that I don't even think we have one of these before.
Shoot, bandage, and
Yep, we just got an achievement.
The dancing steps of war.
Yeah, we just got an achievement. There. Do we have a jester?
He will be laughing still at the end.
Okay. Can we increase this? No. So obviously this needs to go in here. This guy's pretty bad too. Could we reduce the treatment cost of that? Yes. Should we reduce the treatment cost of that? No. Well, maybe yes. Because
strong drink, a game of chance, and companionship. The rush of life.
so we may have gotten like 5,000 gold, but when all's said and done, we're gonna spend a lot of it to then reduce stress on characters. And it may be a case that I'm wasting money by sending them to the higher, more expensive areas when maybe that's not necessary. Like for 80 stress, maybe the lowest level would have done just fine. At this point, we may have enough to buy something here. 15% if shared dust in the inventory. Or an occultist only item. Which probably aren't the best items. I don't even know if these items are even cycling out or changing. These may be very unique, overpowered items, and that may just be that, but they may not even be the best item for the characters. Can we upgrade the blacksmith? Be nice if we could. Could probably upgrade the furnace with a trade, but honestly we really shouldn't trade anything. It's just going to be a long path to get this upgraded, and this upgraded, and maybe that's all you have to do. It's just those 3 things. So we go again, and we have yet another short apprentice. Although this is a short apprentice, and so we should do that. I want some variety, at the very least. So yeah, we'll go for this one. And now is the time to decide. This guy's stress is 19. It's not terrible. It's level 1. This guy's stress is 21, which that's not terrible either. This guy's stress is too high. This guy's stress is too high. This character's stress is 0, so we can definitely make a meal of taking that character. But let's pick them last since they fit in a couple different places. This guy's new. Level 1. So he wants to be a back row character. So try and figure out somebody. It could be a third row character. We'll try the bounty hunter, I guess. In a lot of ways, we are just trying to try out different characters. One of those. 8 of those. 10 of those. Shard dust, I would definitely say no to. And I guess I can take a key. But I need to really be careful about how I use keys. And question really if $200, 200 gold for a key is anywhere worth what it unlocks.
Corruption has soaked the soil, sapping all good life from these groves.
It might very well be a
Let
case
us burn out this evil.
where the... Let's see. Great, the shovel with the grave did do something, give us more reward, so this is worth 500, this is worth 250, and these are worth kind of any amount. That's a really small path. This guy, I think first and foremost wants to kill that one. Stressful incantation tells me I should have attacked these guys first. Or these girls.
Another one falls.
These guys are dying very quickly. I guess the question is what do we do to reduce the amount it costs to buy provisions? Because anything we could do there would be super helpful.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope
That was a
blossoms.
very easy fight. Let's open that and take that and not use the key. We did lose our shovel to do the grave digging, but we do now know to use shovels in grave diggings. Seems like anytime you see this,
the flow of otherworldly corruption.
you should take it because
Cruel
it
machinations
always seems like
bring
it's the
to
right
life
move. 'Cause,
with a singular purpose.
not using a shovel there ended up giving me a disease. And there's nothing in this area. There's a lot of stress, certainly, going through the field or woods or whatever it's supposed to, whatever it's called. A lot of traps just seem like they're not visible at all.
A handsome reward for a task well performed.
Like, I really would question if I am actively missing as many traps as I'm triggering. Now we might run into some problem with like the ectoplasm respawning over and over again. But I'm not super worried about it.
Another abomination.
If we're doing entire like death blows in one or two
Continue
hits.
the onslaught. Destroy them all.
Like, that's what I really want to start seeing, is just a team that succeeds.
Remind yourself that overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer.
Yeah, a team that is just so overpowered that they win in the first attack or first round without potentially taking any damage at all. This character still needs some healing, so if we can find a fight where that works for us.
Nature herself, a victim to the spreading corruption.
It's just like a massive amount of stress. Until you can get your resolve up much higher. Okay. Let's just start with this guy. He'll be easy to kill.
Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles.
And then let's see if we can kill this guy. Just massive amount of dodge, massive amount of attack by just having some upgraded weapons.
Press this advantage. Give them no quarter.
Reducing stress, adding buffs.
Such a terrible assault cannot be left unanswered.
And they did a crit on me that did only 1 damage, but that still was just like a massive amount of stress because they did a crit on me. I'm still just looking for something that might heal this character, and I just don't think I have anything that heals.
A devastating blow.
So I could try to give food to this character, the shield bearer. I don't even know if the shield bearer as a character is particularly even worth saving that much. Which probably is. It is also very possible that the difference between a level 1 and a level 2 character is a lot higher than you would think. Alright, let's look at this. So, it says that we were supposed to have done all the room battles, and that was the last of the room battles. So let's evaluate here. Do we want to do a battle to get to a room that we don't know what's in it? Or do we want to just take the victory and be done with it? I mean, I think you'll probably just take the victory and be done with it. Yeah, just take that victory.
Driving out corruption is an endless battle, but one that must be fought.
Short and sweet. It feels like it would have been a lot nicer to run into lucky wins like that more often. Getting 3,000 gold, getting a specific item. Items are seemingly playing a bigger role than you would have when I would have first thought of. And just getting the resolve, which resolve obviously is the most important thing to upgrade.
My obsession caused this great foulness, and it is
Stunned by the
shameful that I must
apparent
rely
value
upon you to set it right.
of the thing concealed amidst its putrid feathers, onlookers wondered if the trek to its perch might not be in order. This is the Shrieker's Prize. Plot quest Shrieker's Prize. No longer irrational, no longer abusive. Great. Again, I guess it's every time you come in here, it's just, hey, can we upgrade something? Could upgrade that. Should we upgrade that? Probably not. Can we upgrade that? No. Is there enough value in spending money to reduce the stress of these characters? Like, this one seems like, yes, I would want to reduce the stress. This one, since we can, we will. And yes, double check. Should have checked that first. Can't upgrade anything here. We're just not really at the point where I quite believe that it's worthwhile to upgrade this. That being said, if we upgraded this, maybe
Alone
this...
in the woods or tunnels, survival is the same. Prepare, persist, and overcome.
My thought here is we just don't know what the upgrades actually do. And so that puts us in this weird position where we kind of need to do the upgrades just to see what they do. And yeah. Again, we could look here. Still looks like it's the same old items. More than likely you just want to hold on until you get to like 200 of this and get this Crusader only item or a coat of many colors. But that's probably not even what you want as an item. Still don't want to do the online DLC. Let's just embark. Okay. Let's see. The estate map here. Kill the necromancer apprentice. Medium apprentice level 1. That would be an interesting thing to take on. Gives you a hero's ring, which would be very nice. Otherwise, you go for just simply simplistic things and you just try and grind up more. And normally, it really would be a case where you would want to work your way towards being bold and taking on either the Wizened Hag or Necromancer Apprentice. At least that'd be a named character and something different. But as dumb as it may seem, I think we're still really in just a level of needing to grind. And I don't think anything really gets around that until we have characters that are at like level 3 or 4. And yeah, I don't think I have my characters low enough in their stress anyways. We need somebody besides this guy to be the leader. Somebody that can be up front. That may just be this Vestal character. Unless we want to run this guy again. Unless we want to take the Flagellist with us, which, whatever. We'll try that. More and more, a lot of these characters do seem like they just have items on them that I don't really feel like I handed those items over. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't, but let's see. Is there a bleed skill on the flagellant? I would say almost certainly. Common protection skill. -1 speed. Accuracy. -2 speeds. I don't want that one. And since we ran through all of these runs so fast here, once again does feel like it falls well. Small. Take 2 of those. You'd almost assume that 8 and 8 was the exact right amount. But I don't know if that really is the case. Couple of bandages. Holy water might make some sense in the cove, but yeah, let's just embark. It kind of makes sense if you have an infinite amount of money to have 1 or 2 of everything at the beginning and just be over prepared. And I can't help but think that at some point in the game you will have so much resources that you will spend ridiculous amounts of money.
If only treasure could staunch the flow of otherworldly corruption.
Did that work? before. Something odd about the coral. Just search. Abrasive and unnerving. Massive amounts of stress on that character. I'm just waiting for my turn so I can bring up the torch light. Okay. Then attack this guy first. Let's shoot that. That missed. Shoot this guy and hit him. Attack this guy and miss. What does this one do, by the way? It's a +4 speed.
The horror.
This madness character does seem like he is really unfair. Clear mark target, transfer bleed, transfer polite. That guy should be dead now. Again, totally
Slowly,
missed.
Gently. This is how a life is taken.
He's gone. So now it's gonna boil down to getting rid of these two characters. This may go quick, but this may not go as well as one would like. The kind of problem here is the amount of stress this guy had before he even started the fight. But I guess also if we lose this guy, it doesn't really matter. It's not like he was an upgraded level 1 character. But we still do want everything to slowly upgrade to level 2 or 3. Hopefully the bleed effect starts to do something against that guy. I definitely targeted that guy and this guy defended.
Great is the weapon that cuts on its own. Seize this momentum. Push on to the task's end.
So off we go. See, this one just has like horror as an aspect now, and I just think this one will slowly gain stress far too quickly. Really gain stress. At a certain level, I guess I kind of question whether a debuffer character should be able to inflict horror, or whether horror as a status should be its own separate thing that can only be inflicted based on a stricter limit of abilities or actions.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms.
Like, if horror only was gained when all 4 of your team members take damage in a round, then that would be kind of a different experience. But the fact that it can really just pop up anywhere at any time is weird. Is there perhaps a benefit for shooting one person and then the other person blocking it? Or
Is that a mistake? Or is that worse than getting the shot to go through?
Press this advantage. Give them no quarter.
In that instance, it was better to target that guy that was blocking. And it may be very much the case that this guy in the back cannot block.
Eradicated.
Which may mean that this guy's abilities are somewhat limited. We should try and heal this character. He's got a decent amount of damage, HP. So, reclaim. Reclaim would heal other people, not him. This one doesn't have a heal ability. This one doesn't have a heal ability either.
Surges as the enemy crumbles. A trifling victory, but a victory nonetheless.
I could give this guy... like food. Right, back this way we go. There's a decent chance this won't work for us and we'll have to flee. We have a grave robber only item. So we've already managed to do pretty well there.
In Radiance, may we find victory.
And in this case, you really don't have to do anything. You can just click without even walking, and that's the real move there. And the smart move is to immediately click and not even take a single step, because a single step leads to something happening, whether it's stress or loss of light, or... That's why clicking even on these doors early has that extra benefit of moving quickly. See, that does seem really weird that any amount of this game would really boil down to just managing the minimalist of click possible. If you were going to have a game that was around managing how long you held down the left mouse button, you would have to be on a much higher scale than just 6 HP of 22. It would have to be something like 6,000 HP of 22,000. Let's go ahead and see if we can kill that guy.
Continue the onslaught. Destroy them all.
Heal this guy. I don't know which one of these is actually worse to attack.
And now the true test. Hold fast or expire. Their formation is broken. Maintain the offensive.
We may win here, which I guess technically might take him out of Death's Door, or it may not. Like, you could potentially just be in Death's Door outside of the fight and not even realize it. What's
Remind
funny
yourself that overconfidence is a slow
too
and
is
insidious
that we are
killer.
kind of running out of room, so the game itself is kind of pushing you to leaving early. Alright, we got some surprise guys. Let's see if we can do this. Bleeding and debuff on that. Kill him. Great. Attack that one. Go ahead and heal this character again. Maybe it's a little too early to be doing that because maybe one more hit would have killed this character.
Perched at the very precipice of oblivion. This is no place for the weak or foolhardy.
There goes our guy, which adds a bunch of stress, I imagine. Blackjack this guy. He resisted that. That's one more down. Interesting that that guy defended that guy. Do they just defend each other? I didn't think it worked that way. If it works that way, I'll just always attack the one person that I'm not trying to kill. I would think the guy with the big shield would be the defender, not the other way around. One more down. Not really doing a lot with the blackjack, but it is stunning the guy. So, that is working. None of these guys are quite in the best of order, and this may be what kills this run. Now is that if I can't do any of my main attacks on this character because we've lost our forward man and everybody just moved forward, then that may be the problem in all future fights. So you'd almost expect that there might be a way to move all the characters back one and just have an empty space, or have a new team member, like a dummy team member,
Devastating blow.
show up and join the battle in the middle of a dungeon.
These nightmarish creatures can be felled. They can be beaten.
Let's see. Alright. So you do use a shovel. And that does mean I'm going to have to get rid of something. 250, 375. Discard the dog treats, which are kind of worthless. I guess I could have used the dog treats. Complete 100% of the room battles is our question. I don't think we can do that.
The light, the promise of safety.
Full of water, cupped in smooth stone, the color's slightly off. Do we have anything we could do with this? Seemingly we could put something gold in there, something low value. Item has no effect. Interesting. That doesn't have an effect either. Not only did that taking the treasures not have an effect, it didn't let me do it. It would kind of make some sense that you could potentially drop an item. Let's see. Is there any way we can fix this? I think the trick here, we're gonna have to move somebody around. But also, I think there is a decent chance we should just flee. That didn't work.
How quickly the tide turns.
Yeah, I think we flee. Retreat failed.
A wise general cuts losses and regroups.
Yeah, and if anything, I guess I should have just retreated in the first place. Like, your odds are not terrible if we had the people that this might be the last room battle. But we just don't have the right people.
A setback, but not the end of things.
And if anything, that might just highlight an issue around taking a level 0 character with a group of level 2 or even 1 characters. Balanced. Dogu is a disease, I guess.
In time, you will know the tragic extent of my failings.
Okay. Again, it just doesn't really feel like that went too bad. We still don't have a 1 character. And we're still short to upgrading any of that. Which means we'd be short upgrading any of that. And is it the same resources? Not quite. It's portraits for the guild. It's deeds and crests. Everything. It's everything and crests. Which arguably, if it was just gold, it probably would be nicer. Instead of jumping around in circles. Let's see. Put that one there. We should have checked to see if we could have upgraded anything. No. Can we upgrade anything here? Yes, we can, so we'll take advantage of that. And then this guy is the only one. That's the only one we can use for this level 3 to get his stress down. And just leaving people in the city does seem like it reduces some level of stress, but not enough. What is this guy's affliction? He'll only visit the brothel too. Or she'll only visit the brothel. Which I guess that's fine because I don't have any money anyways. Yeah, and I guess at a certain point, maybe you just don't bother. Is this a shield breaker? That's a Hellion. But that's a shield breaker. Okay. At a certain point, I suppose we will hit a level where we have a bunch of items and we may have extra items even on our team. See if we can find the right things that goes on to the right people. This Vestial character would probably get benefited quite a bit by, let's see, plus 24. Yeah, the move amulet is a real interesting question because I don't know why you would want to upgrade your move abilities to just move from one spot to the next spot. Here we have a Plague Doctor. Do we have another item that's Plague Doctor only? Yes, we do. So we'll switch around that. Hmm. 15% blight chance. Some of these characters definitely haven't been played with at all. Let's see. Jester can have that one because that's unique item. I guess that's what this really should come down to is, can we find the Highwayman? Can we find the Jester? Can we find the characters that would be capable of using certain things? Musketeer, Houndmaster, Man-at-Arms. Did we lose our Grave Robber? Guess we may have. 'Cause I don't see that character anymore. Seem to have two Houndmasters potentially. Is it worth it to even take a one person? Yes, it probably.
Elusive, evasive, persistent. Righteous traits for a rogue.
So we have like two Grave Robber items, so maybe we should put those in order. Put our commons over here, put an uncommon here, and an uncommon here. Antiquarian only. And Flagellants only. And I bet we don't have an Antiquarian anymore either. Yeah, doesn't seem like it. Definitely feels like you need to build up your team more. Just so you can have one of every kind of character. I would be a little surprised if they revealed that there was a whole bunch of extra types of heroes. I suspect we've probably seen them all, unless they're going to do second level or second tiers of heroes, but I don't feel like that's particularly likely either, because what's a second tier of a Jester or a Crusader, or like you could certainly add phrases after some of them. It could be like master or cultist instead of just a cultist to make a second tier. But that's fairly redundant also because the resolve and the levels are already there. Do we... how much... how much dust would we need to actually upgrade something? Let's see. If we got the mill, heroes would no longer suffer random hunger checks. Note, memories can still be found at the Endless Harvest quest. Which I guess maybe means that you get memories at some way through the random hunger checks, but I don't think that I've seen any of that. 10 of this currency. This specific currency. Which is... I don't know what that is. Gem inventory stacking could be increased by 1. What are gems, and does that really matter? Increase buffs. A monument with no purpose except proclamation of one's dedication. So this one seems like this is really just useless. This sounds like this would be a really great move. Could we get, in a reasonable amount of time, 55 portraits, though? Probably not super easy. Somewhere mid-game, if we stick with this game long enough, that would be doable. Somewhere in that same timeline, torchlights being more beneficial makes more sense. 15% healing when you eating, and then some food is granted for free each week. That's probably a useful item upgrade. In fact, looking at some of this, it's not terrible. It just requires you to get 100 of these resources, which just seems like that it still would require you to do way too much playing of this game. I still feel that disconnect, that heavy disconnect where there are probably people that were playing this during early access like crazy, non-stop streamers streaming it for 8 hours a day, 6-7 days a week. Like, that almost certainly happened. If I think back, I vaguely recall seeing it happen. And yet, after the fact, after all the DLC is out, after all the upgrades have been done, which I assume is where we are at in 2022, it just doesn't quite make the most amount of sense that you would spend that much time with this. In a weird way, it's not even because there's something else that is like a direct replacement for this game. It's just that this game in itself is just asking too much time. And you can tell that certainly with the achievements. Every single time I sit down and play this game for an hour and 30 minutes or so, I'm unlocking 1 or 2 new achievements. Noticeably, one of the achievements I unlocked today has only been unlocked by 13.75% of all players on Steam, which is to tell you that about 80% of everybody who's played this game never got the DLC, or never triggered that event, or never succeeded at that event, because they had already more than likely gotten tired of Darkest Dungeon. And that is probably why nobody really talks about Darkest Dungeon anymore. It's not that the game got worse with time, it got better. It's just it was too much. Undoubtedly, the smarter move, in my opinion, I'll say it as an opinion, would have been to not add any of the DLC content that they had added. Polish their game, finish it up, release it, and then announce Darkest Dungeon 2 coming out 2 to 3 years later, taking all the DLC elements that are in this game and selling that as Darkest Dungeon 2, making some slight adjustments, some slight changes, possibly even drastically changing how the game actually played, with like better controller support and not so much of a mess of a interface, or having the game even be a directly controlled experience where you're playing as a named character that is taking on the dungeon the whole time and respawns when he dies, and it stops being so much a dungeon crawler with turn-based gameplay mechanics and turning it instead into a dungeon crawler with action timed-based actions and mechanics. Darkest Dungeon 2 could be fairly different from Darkest Dungeon 1 and still use the same art assets and the same themes and ideas. Now, you look at like Diablo 2, and it is pretty much just iterations on Diablo 1 and better than Diablo 1, but doesn't really change much. The difference there, I would say, is that Diablo 1 and Diablo 2 were games that came out in a very different time for PC gaming, with considerably less competition and more obsessiveness around specific games and playing specific games over and over again. So, yeah. At that time, it wouldn't have made sense for Diablo 2 to come out and be a completely different game. But in this case, it's certainly something they could have done. Also, they could have not done that. They could have just iterated and had a Darkest Dungeon 2 come out fairly quickly after Darkest Dungeon 1. Same gameplay mechanics, same ideas, just different characters, different level designs. Part of the problem certainly with roguelike games is that you're making a system to constantly change how your game is presented, making it less likely that somebody would need to buy extra content or a sequel, which definitely I think hurt things like Rogue Legacy, which has taken a very long time to even announce Rogue Legacy 2, let alone release it. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.